what I want to finish on is looking at what's coming from a point of view of emerging from this crap. In other words, emerging from the mind prison that we've been put into, and therefore creating a reality that we'd rather have compared with the reality that we've been living. And breaking the spell is actually pretty much sums it up, because it is a spell in many ways, if you want to use that symbolism. Our minds have been locked in to a range of perception that gives us the impression that we are limited, that we are poor little Joe Public, I've got no power, and all the rest of it. And that's exactly where people manipulating a mass of people want us to be. And when we're looking at ways out of this, Einstein's quote, which is in many forms, but this is a summary of it, encapsulates what we're looking at. You cannot solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them. Now, what we have in the world is a series of problems created, and then they'll change a political party or they'll move another dark suit in from somewhere else. But they're of the same level of consciousness as those who created the problem, so the problem just goes on getting compounded because we've not reached that level of going beyond that and looking at it from another direction and seeing a way to change what we want to change. So the door is spinning round in Downing Street in the White House, but no matter what it looks like, the same level of consciousness is coming in and out, and so nothing changes. It cannot. And that consciousness is from the consciousness of division, of seeing everything as a partness and all the rest of it, which is the consciousness that's been in power and has been manipulated among humanity to have and to manifest reality from that perspective, into a oneness that understands that we're all one consciousness, we're all one energy, all one mind, and therefore all these divisions between us through which we're divided and ruled are just illusions. You know, if someone got a baseball bat and started smacking themselves around the head with it, we would call that crazy, madness, insane. But that's what we're doing with the conflict in Palestine, in Iraq, in the Second World War. We're one consciousness that's been set at war with itself. And when I say, and again, I talk about one consciousness, I'm not talking about one clone kind of bland, everyone the same consciousness. Absolutely the opposite of that. And one way of seeing how much we've come along the road to understanding this idea of connection and expressing the uniqueness of all possibility is how much we do that, and how much we are clone-like, just following the one in front, sticking to the norms, never stepping out of line. Now, we've become clone-like, not because of oneness, we're all the same, because that's what oneness is about, but because we have disconnected from that infinity of all possibility, which we can play with and move around and get different points of observation from, and we're just playing and expressing and getting infinite joy from the infinite possibility that's there, and instead we've allowed ourselves to be suppressed into a fractional area of possibility. You know, so that's when we become clone-like. That's when we all act the same. That's when we become sheep. There's no contradiction between oneness and infinite variety. If we can move our point of observation from in this world to the out-of-body state, then we change our reality. And in an out-of-body state, we ask ourselves, so often, you know, I say this, what would change this world dramatically overnight is if everyone started doing what they knew to be right instead of what they thought was right for them in the moment. What a transformation that would be. All the time, we intuitively know what is right, but it's like, yeah, but what are the consequences for me? What are the consequences for me, or what's stopping this transformation of this world happening? Because, oh yeah, I think it's unjust, but if I do something about the unjustness of this, what will be the consequences for me? People say to me all the time, insiders, well, I'll give you this information, but ooh, you know, don't mention my name, will you? All right, I'll do it then. And when we get to that point where we're doing what we know to be right, instead of doing what we think is right for us in the moment, then everything changes. And what is right for us in the moment? Only what body consciousness thinks it is. In the out-of-body state, when we're in that state, are we saying, oh my goodness me, I ain't half glad that I didn't do what was right there, because I'd have had a bit of a problem here? No, we just said, oh, we should have done what was right there, because that was the right thing to do. That's the point of observation when we're out of this program reality. As Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Injustice for people we don't like is just as important as injustice against people we do. What would oneness do? That's the question. If we were in that oneness state, what would it do in this situation? Would it say, what are the consequences for me, or would it do what it believed to be right? As this man said, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Well, okay, that's changed the bloody world straight away. As Martin Luther King said, cowardice asked the question, is it safe? Expediency asked the question, is it politic? Vanity asked the question, is it popular? But conscience asked the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but one must take it because it is right. Infinite love, infinite consciousness, the existence of an infinite consciousness is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. It's the imagination of that consciousness made manifest. Gandhi said, strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from an indomitable spirit, an inspirable will. And that's the will to do what we know to be right, both for ourselves and for the greater good, because we are ourselves and we are the greater good. Getting out of this thing, fearing what other people think, fearing our shadow, fearing anything. We are infinite consciousness, having it experience. There's nothing to survive, there is nothing to fear. This is our natural state. It's about time we went back to it. As William Wright said, so I started off with this, we should not fear to enter a forest because there are wild cats in the trees. We should not yield our right to well-controlled speculation. It is certain questions entailed in such speculation which administrators of established knowledge fear. But in entering the cosmic age, we should certainly insist on the right to ask new, even silly questions without being molested. We must take that right. You want to laugh at me? Good, have a good laugh. Please for you. You want to condemn me for what I'm saying because it's outside the norm? Great, fine. You have a right to say that. I have a right to say this. Everyone's a winner. This is what's happening now. We're starting to wake up, and we have the opportunity now. It's a wonderful time to be alive, because all these things are coming together in this point we call time, where we have the opportunity to break out of this cycle of mental and emotional imprisonment. We're being offered the key with knowledge, with understanding, with the gathering, opening, awareness, and with the energy change that's underpinning that. It's now a time for us to decide if we're going to take the key and turn it, with all the implications that has for the challenges in this reality. But my goodness me, the freedom of becoming and returning to the true magnitude of who we are, and leaving behind this false identity that we have been manipulated to believe is us. There it is. There's the key for everyone, all of us, me too, to go like that. It's up to all of us to choose if we're going to do it. It's about time we did, I feel. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.